Hey YouTube. Alright, today I want to talk about Riot Games, the developers of League of Legends. Very popular MOBA, haven't really played it personally, but I know a lot of people that are really into MOBAs and they love what League of Legends brings to the table, so that's cool. This video is not about the gameplay, it's not about the game. I want to talk about the developers, because these guys are out of their fucking minds. And I've spent all morning reading tweets from some of these absolute fucking nutjobs, and I gotta share this story with you guys, so quick rundown of the controversy here. Riot Games have decided that this year at PAX, they are not going to be allowing male gamers to attend their development workshop. Why? Well, again, it's just the classic SJW bullshit, right? We are toxic, disgusting, overprivileged, toxic white male gamers, you know? And this year, it doesn't even matter. You could be the biggest pay pig ever. You could pump thousands of dollars into League of Legends on the reg, grinding that meta like some kind of autistic Energizer bunny, right? Putting food on the table of these devs as they work probably their dream jobs, you know? I mean, God, how many of us would love to work in the gaming industry, right? And these people, all they can do is infiltrate and subvert. That seems to be the only thing that they're interested in doing. And your loyalty as a consumer, your choice to give your money to these people, it doesn't mean anything to them. You're a white male. Therefore, your identity is inherently problematic. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay, so shut up and eat the slop that we feed you, right? That's the message that Riot Games are doubling down on. And God forbid anyone point out that it's kind of unfair to deny access to a public event to a massive group of people, the majority of the player base, literally discriminating against the demographic of people based on their surface level traits, right? It doesn't matter if you want to discuss this calmly or logically, you're part of the problem, shitlord. And that's what they're saying on Twitter right now. So let's go to Twitter and let's read some of these tweets. Daniel Z. Klein says, "So yes, in the interest of justice, equality, and fairness, men need to be excluded sometimes. That's perfectly fine. Trust me, you'll have about 1 billion other opportunities that these women won't have, but no. You have to be absolute overgrown toddlers and throw hissy fits. If you've never had to think about this for a minute in your life, congratulations. You're privileged as fuck, and have been benefiting from a system that makes the lives of others hell. I sincerely hope these man-babies crying in that thread will grow up someday. But I know most of them won't. That's their choice. My choice? My choice is to reject them from my spaces. They're not welcome here. They're not welcome in gaming anymore. To strive towards justice, we sometimes have to be harsh and exclusionary. And that's okay." And he goes on, and he goes on, and on, and on. Chris LPL Lover Pollock says, "Let me restate it for unequivocal clarity. If you think Riot having a room for women and non-binary only for a short time is sexist, you're an indefensible idiot who doesn't understand the problem. I absolutely detest this phrase, yeah right, but y'all need to check your damn privilege. You have zero clue what actually happens in the world. Simply ignoring the problems by not seeing gender doesn't make them go away, because it ignores all the damage already done." Now, are these just a couple of random loose cannons that work for the dev team? Well, let's see what Riot Games' official Twitter has to say about this shit show. Because this kind of divisive rhetoric cannot be good for business. So let's see what they say. "Short term, we're committed to revisiting our cultural tenets, our manifesto, and how we define gamer. We're partnering with outside experts to bring unbiased eyes into re-evaluating talent, culture, and holding ourselves accountable. We're doubling down on educating all Rioters about creating an inclusive environment. We're setting off on a long journey and we'll update you along the way. Nothing is off limits. We aren't afraid of what we'll lose. In the process, we only look forward to what we'll gain." You hear that shit, Lord? Nothing is off limits, and this is about inclusivity. Except that, obviously, you are off limits because you're not invited to this fucking event. And we don't want to include you because you're a white male. And there's so much that we're going to lose, there's so much we can gain. So we want to lose you, the people that grew our business, that made it successful. You can go fuck yourselves because we're looking for that sweet, sweet crypto-communist SJW crowd that may or may not even exist. But here we go again, right? Here we go again. Fuck these clowns. Let me state the undeniable reality of the game industry. It was built by white nerds, white male nerds, okay? And that makes some people feel very uncomfortable in 2018 for some reason, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. Just like comic books, just like sci-fi, just like Warhammer 40k, these are historically very white nerdy subcultures. And as gamers, we owe no one an apology for enjoying this hobby and being part of it before it was cool, before it was fucking mainstream. And that's their argument. Their argument is that the entire industry is somehow sexist and racist. That there's been white male gatekeepers that have been pushing women and minorities out of gaming, out of comic books for all this time, right? And if we just fuck off, then, you know, the real creators could take control and make real games about real things like social justice and Marxism and feminism, right? Because that's what the world really needs. Except, let's take a trip back to the early 90s, right? Let's take a look at id Software. They made Doom, the father of the FPS genre, one of the most influential games of all time, absolute fucking classic. And who were these men? Were they soy-fueled, bearded, chin-stroking SJW cunts? No, as a matter of fact they weren't. They were pizza-eating, beer-swilling, fun-loving metalheads. They weren't victims, they didn't need a leg up, they created the industry, they paved the way, they were pioneers. And they created the industry in their own image. That's what Doom was all about. Big guns, metal soundtrack, high adrenaline, masculine power fantasy. I mean, it's classic, and apparently the most evil thing in our society is men having these kind of spaces where they can enjoy themselves. Cut loose, right? Like, oh, this game doesn't connect with women, or doesn't connect with minorities, they're not represented in Doom, right? Well, why does anyone give a fuck about that? Why is that an argument? Because sorry comrades, but you do live and work in Western capitalist societies. You should be trying to provide some kind of entertainment value with your products. And if they don't sell well, what are you going to do? You're just going to cry more. Because we live in a Western society and there are laws that prevent systemic racism and discrimination, right? So if they really wanted to compete, they would start their own industry. They'd have their parallel gaming industry that's all about communism and SJW, Marxism, all that shit. They're free to do that anytime. But of course, they're aware that there's no demand for far-left politics in fucking video games, right? You know, we want to be entertained. We don't want to be reminded of how miserable our fucking existence is in the real world, okay? So that's the whole point of gaming. At least it was the point. And when you look back at the forefathers like Carmack, Romero, Kamiya, Kojima, fucking Miyamoto, these men weren't interested in pushing ideology and berating their customers. You know, they were interested in making amazing video games that you were happy to spend your hard-earned money on. And isn't that just the essence of capitalism, right? Healthy competition, even playing field, let the customers come to you, and certainly don't disrespect them. Because they're the ones paying your bills, and they certainly don't owe you their patronage. But you know what would be a better idea? Let's ignore all of those legendary names from the industry, right? Where that built the industry, and let's go with the idea that, no, you're a white man, you can't come to this event. We're Riot Games, we're gonna judge you for existing, and if you don't see the world like we do, you're literally a piece of shit. You're a bad person. And you should be ousted from the subculture that you helped create, because current year. But anyway, yeah, I encourage any League of Legends players, please boycott Riot Games if you're not cool with this shit, because, I mean, I guess it's the only way we can send the message, so. Yeah, I said it once, and I'll say it again. Fuck these clowns.